Hey everyone, welcome back to F1 2021, the official video game, part 12 of the My Team Career Mode for Cross GT Racing, coming off the back of an excellent performance at Spa in the Belgian Grand Prix, where we got driver of the day. P15 we finished, but we started in P21 and managed to chase down the rest of the pack after having to jump into the pits with some front wing damage. So really showing that our car is pretty up there in performance at the moment. But yeah, we'll have to see how we go for the rest of the season. Its personnel department now needs us to take a look at something.
It looks like our driver has an issue. We need you to step in here.
Okay, so Schwartzman Trainer wants to introduce yoga into his daily routine. If we decline, we get extra racecraft. If we accept, he gets extra awareness.
Thanks for dealing with that. The department appreciates it.
Awesome. So I think we'll focus on the racecraft. We don't really need to focus on the awareness. He's brand new to the team. So we don't really want to push too much on him at the start. As we jump to the activities tab now, very quick turnaround. We've only got 2 days until the Dutch Grand Prix. As we now take a look, we're going to have to focus on, I think, looking at who we're going to bring into the team for next season. As I don't think we're going to be keeping some of the younger drivers around, because we really want to get a driver into the team that can really get us more points and get us in better position. So we want to look at one of the already established F1 drivers. But as I was looking through the list, I noticed there was actually someone missing from the list. So we've got Guan Yu Zhou, our original teammate there, who's still a free agent, hasn't managed to pick up a seat with another team halfway through the season. But I was taking a look through, and it appeared that Sebastian Vettel wasn't in the list. I couldn't understand why, because he was pretty much the guy that I wanted to have in our team. You know, 4-time world champion, and he's just the best driver in the whole thing. Then I look in the messages and I see that apparently he's looking at retiring. So we're gonna have to look for another option. Maybe Daniel Ricciardo, see if we can get him on board. But that's all looking ahead. That's going to be next. At the end of the season, we have to look at that. As for right now, durability is the big focus. As parts start to get worn down, we really want to focus on increasing the durability of our parts. We'll start advancing time. Build time upgrade for the chassis department.
Come through the fabrication process. We'll have them with us for the next Grand Prix.
Awesome. So build time for chassis increased, which is great. So now the chassis stuff, a lot of it has been major upgrades, will start to come through faster. We replaced the gearbox for this race. Unfortunately though, this Dutch Grand Prix is an extremely challenging race, and it's one that I've only actually done during the Breaking Point story mode, so this one did not go well at all. Practice was tough. I think I actually had to do this over like 2 sittings. I tried to do it one day and I couldn't, and so I tried it the next day and I just couldn't get the hang of it. Yeah, so it didn't really go very well at all. So a little bit of a different format for this race, for this video. So I'll show you sort of how qualifying finished. So we were only 4.5 seconds off the pace. P22, Schwartzman P21, 3 seconds off the pace. But just such a challenging race, so frustrating. Lap 3, it all fell apart. Yep, lost the car into the wall.
Are you okay?
Yep.
That was a nasty hit.
Yeah, it was.
Turn the engine off and wait for the marshals.
Sure thing, Jeff. So that's what happened there. So we finished up there at the Dutch Grand Prix with a retirement. There we go, walking away after just such a frustrating weekend. Not only for the driver in-game, but also a frustrating weekend for me, because I just couldn't get it. So DNF there for us. Schwartzman finishing in 20th. But yeah, just I couldn't handle it, and we just took the retirement and went on our way. Driver standings, no change. Valtteri Bottas still in front, pulling ahead of Verstappen and Hamilton, and the constructor standings I'm pretty sure were the same. I'm pretty sure there was no real change in those either. Mercedes pulling ahead even further ahead of Red Bull. But yeah. So there's the constructor standings there. So yeah, Mercedes pulling ahead of Red Bull. 59 points now the gap. McLaren now 142 behind, so they're probably out of the fight for the rest of the season. I can't imagine they would be able to gain that much ground on Mercedes or Red Bull with that car that they've got, or the cars that they've got, I should say. But yeah, so disappointing weekend at the Dutch Grand Prix. But we look ahead now to the next round in Monza. I had some issues with recording for this one, so we didn't get any of the race from the Dutch Grand Prix because I crashed, and now we're not going to get any of the facility stuff, the practice stuff, or the qualifying run at Monza. So we're going to jump straight ahead to the race at Monza. So here we are at Monza, running mediums to softs, 6 laps on the mediums, 7 on the softs, 14 laps of fuel. Should be an interesting race at the temple of speed. We're starting in P18 after a decent qualifying run behind Verstappen. 5 red lights all gone. We're off and running at Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. Verstappen is just ahead of us after he'd had to take a grid penalty. I don't know what it was for, but he's now just ahead of us as Latifi dives up the inside at turn 1. And we get spun by our teammate, no less. Our brand new teammate. In this would be his 3rd race now. Spins us out at Monza at turn 2. We are now 11 seconds off the pace on mediums. So what was going to be a really good run on our first stint on mediums in the pack, getting DRS and slipstream and all that sort of stuff, is now going to turn to an absolute grind to try and get back into the mix. Definitely not the start that we wanted. ERS enabled. We're going to have ERS enabled. Sorry. We're going to have to just use every ounce of energy this car produces in order to get back in the mix. As Valtteri Bottas now posts a 1 minute 24, the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on the first lap, we are still coming down the back straight there. Around the final corner, everyone is now in the queue up at turn 1 as we just finished lap 1, a 1:44, 20 seconds behind Bottas. Definitely not what we wanted. Lap 1 completed, an abysmal lap 1 after being spun out by our teammate. But we've got to keep going. I mean, we've already gained half a second on him as we now come around the final corner on lap 2. We are now within 10 seconds of Schwartzman, so we've managed to gain.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Cheers, Jeff. 1 minute 25.9 for that lap as we lock up the wheels at 1 and go a little bit wide. But we clean it up at turn 2. We are now 9.5 seconds behind Schwartzman. So we are slowly gaining on him as we do a slower sector 2 there. But that's alright as we blast through those turns there all the way down the back straight. We are now almost within 8 seconds of Schwartzman now, so we've gained so much time on him. Those back markers, we might actually be able to catch up to them by the end of the race. They'll be pitting and going into mediums. It's halfway through the race. We'll be going on the softs.
You'll be on the softs.
Thanks, Jeff. Just confirming we will be on the softs. So we will have the better tyre compound in the second half of the race. Whoa, we go a little bit wide there at 2. But that's alright, we're still within 8 seconds. So we've gained 3 seconds in 3 laps. So a second a lap, which means we should in theory be able to catch up to them. Although we do run a 1.6 seconds slower lap in lap 4 compared to our best, which I'm pretty sure was lap 3. But that's alright. We just need to keep on gaining on them. We don't need to keep gaining more time on our best time. We just need to gain time on the other drivers. Which is going to be tough as we go wide. We go onto the gravel. Heading into Sector 2. Well, in Sector 2 I should say. Middle of Sector 2. So that loses us some time. We're now...
Front is 8.7 seconds.
Just about what I was going to say, Jeff. 8.7 seconds the gap now to Latifi. Schwartzman's now jumped up 2 positions. Has he always been that far ahead? I didn't actually pay attention to the names, but he's now in P19, which is great for our team. If only he hadn't spun me out at turn 1 on the first lap, maybe we would have been in a better position. But that's alright.
We're boxing this lap.
Awesome. Coming into the pits end of this lap.
Caution.
Oh, something's happened. Yellow flag. Oh, and Schwartzman and Latifi, by looks of things, have made contact. So there's another couple of positions we've gained. A couple of easy positions there. We're now P20 on the mediums. We've still got to pit and go into the softs. This could work out well for us. Mazepin now only 5 seconds ahead of us. We can catch up to him by the end of the race. We've already gained half the time on him from when we got back on the track at turn 1. So I'm pretty confident we could catch him before the end of this race. Coming down. Whoa, we're going as hard as we can there, using every inch of the track there. Sector 1 and Sector 2 this lap slower, so tyre wear becoming an issue, but we are heading into the pits this lap to go on to the softs. We did see Mazepin just come around that corner, so he is in our sights. We can see him, but that gap is now going to grow as we head into the pits. Looks like we'll be the only ones going into the pits at this point. We shouldn't have anyone else coming in with us. Oh no, Latifi's coming in, so the debris on the track must have been from his car. Schwartzman must not have any debris on his car. Front wing damage for us, so we were actually gaining on the other drivers.
You'll be racing on the exit. Exit now.
Thanks, Jeff. We were actually gaining on everyone else
That was our last
with
stop.
front wing
No
damage.
more scheduled pit stops.
If we didn't have the front wing damage, we could have been gaining on them even faster. But that's right, we're now on the soft compound tyres. 7 laps left to go in this race. Everyone else has to pit to go into the mediums other than Latifi, who's already been in. So we'll just have to wait and see how this plays out, as a bunch of the back teams have now entered the pits. Schwartzman, our teammate, being one of them, now jumping onto the mediums. They've Schumacher, Russell, and Vettel now is out of the session. Don't know what happened there.
Yellow flag.
Alright, so yellow flag here. We come right up behind our teammate. Only yellow flag through this sector, as Vettel was pulled over to the side there. So obviously some sort of mechanical failure there for him that has forced him to retire. Which is a shame, considering we just learned that he is potentially going to be retiring at the end of the season. I'm sure he wouldn't have wanted to finish his season with a DNF here at Monza, as we try to go up the outside of Schwartzman here. we are side by side, but we're on the soft compound tyre, so we should be able to get past him, which we do. P19 now. The gap to Russell, 14.5 seconds. I don't know if we'll be able to get all the way up there unless we have other cars go into the pits and slow down. Mazepin on the hards now only 2 seconds in front of us, so we can gain on Mazepin. He must have been ahead of Russell or in the pits or something, because now we're only 2.5 behind him. And being on the hards, we should have the speed advantage, as we proved there with the fastest sector 1 of the race so far. At the end of the last lap, we actually posted the fastest sector 3 time. Thanks, Jeff. We actually posted the fastest sector 3 time of the entire race. So we definitely have some pace in this car. It's all about utilising it and making the most of it. We go faster through sector 2. We now come on to this long straight behind Mazepin, 1.3 seconds the gap. We slowly closed it a little bit. It's still, oh no, now we're pretty even. We're pretty even there. Sainz in the pits. We've got a Ferrari in the pit lane. He's now on his way, making his exit of the pits now. Can we get ahead of him? Yes, we can get ahead of him. But for how long is the real question. Being in that Ferrari, he will be a hell of a lot faster than we are. But in saying that, we are now right behind Mazepin. We're now P18. Only half a second behind Mazepin. Russell ahead of him by almost 12 seconds. So we're not going to be focusing on trying to get Russell. All we're going to be doing for now is focusing on getting ahead of Mazepin and trying to finish as far up the grid as we possibly can. As Sainz is now right behind us. He's tailing us through sector 2. Do we lose the back end a little bit there? DRS enabled on Mazepin. But Sainz in that Ferrari has so much speed. He's coming out right behind us, but we managed to keep him out. Braking late enough that we managed to keep track position. Now we've got to run on Mazepin. And we go for it. Sainz is right behind us as well, but there's not enough room for him to get past. So we get the job done on Mazepin. P17 now.
Good job, nice overtake.
Cheers, Jeff. What a move that was.
The car in front is 11.3 seconds.
11.3 seconds to Russell. So we're not going to focus on him as we head on to lap 12 now. 9 seconds the gap. Sainz just breezes past us now. Now that he's got some open air, we will see what his Ferrari can do. He's on softs, but he may have had to do a 2-stop, or he just did a really long 1-stop, which will not be working in his favour. But, you know, 1 lap later, he is 2 seconds ahead of us. He just now posted the fastest lap.
Final lap of the race.
Gap behind us to Mazepin, 4.7. Gap ahead to Sainz, 2.3. Ahead of him, Russell, 9 seconds ahead. Not much we can do now in such a high-speed track like Monza. I think P18 is probably as good as we're going to be able to do here in Italy this season. As Sainz is just pulling away. He's now 3 seconds ahead. As we come around the final corner, Valtteri Bottas takes the checkered flag once again this season. We come through P18.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
So there we have it, P18. Max Verstappen gets driver of the day after starting. I think it was P16 in front of us. P16?
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
So there we have it. P18, which is where we started. Schwartzman finishes P20, getting ahead of Latifi, and Sebastian Vettel finishes with a DNF, so he doesn't actually finish. DNF. So unfortunate for him. Max Verstappen finishes P10, just inside the points after starting P16, just in front of us on the grid. As we take a look now at the driver standings, Bottas still in the lead, now 20 points ahead of second place, who is now Lewis Hamilton, who jumps ahead of Max Verstappen after he gains second here. Constructor standings still the same. Red Bull now 91 points behind Mercedes. So there we have it. There's Monza completed. So sorry that the video is a bit different after the frustrating Dutch Grand Prix. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next one where hopefully I'll actually be able to finish a race. Thanks for watching.